everybody, Shane here, Shoebox Legends. Thanks for joining me for another episode today. In this video, I want to talk a little bit about my love for collecting modern sports cards. Absolutely love modern cards, collecting active players, young stars, learning about new sets. It's just a really engaging and fun part of the hobby for me. I can't imagine collecting without it or doing vintage only, although I certainly have plenty of friends who do exactly that. But I wanted to make this video because I did one recently on the inherent risk of collecting modern cards, especially younger players. It was a topic that I'd been thinking a lot about due to the situation that transpired recently with Wander Franco. Talked a little bit about this card and that situation in that video. But I got a lot of good responses to that and great comments, which I'm still sorting my way through. I do respond to every comment here on the channel, but the comments and the thoughts just got me thinking even more. And I wanted to do a follow-up video just to make one point abundantly clear, and that is, despite the risk that I mentioned in that video and that exists with collecting modern, I love collecting modern sports cards. In fact, looking back on it this calendar year, in my purchases since, January 1st or this past winter, I have purchased significantly more modern cards than I have vintage. And it's not even close. It's probably like a 10-to-1 ratio. I'm just really loving collecting modern, especially over these last few years. And so I figured I will get to maybe looks like 5 modern pickups. I've maybe shown one on the channel. I don't think so. But the other 4 I certainly haven't shown. So we're going to look at some new stuff today and just see some examples of why I think collecting modern cards is just a great part of the hobby. So we're going to start with a player who's been red hot at the time that I'm filming this, mid to late August, Mookie Betts. So I was a big fan of this guy when he was with the Red Sox coming up through the system. Obviously debuted with them, won a World Series, became a fan favorite, and I still root for him out on the West Coast with LA. And recently was able to score this early career sepia refractor out of 2015 Topps Chrome. And this was $20 shipped to my door. And what I love about this, great image. I love the sepia tone and how it kind of works with baseball and makes it look like historic or like an old-timey type photo, combined with the refractor technology. 2015, I love the refractors especially because the bottom border of the card has the refractive technology as well. I don't know how well it comes across on camera, but these are really, really gorgeous, shiny cards. And didn't have this one for my Betts collection. I have a pretty significant collection of the guy. He's someone that I feel pretty good about. And unlike Wander Franco, I have purchased a ton of Mookie Betts cards over the years. I was a Red Sox team collector when he debuted in 2014, so I have a lot of his stuff, but didn't have this 2015 Topps Chrome Sepia and got this for under $20. I think even delivered with tax, it was still under $20, so I'll take that all day long. Another Mookie Betts. And then another Red Sox player, although they were never on the team at the same time, a guy who also won a World Series with the club and was a fan favorite as well. One of my favorite pitchers in the history of baseball. Found this 2003 Bowman Chrome Pedro Martinez refractor. And this is a little bit sad to see, but holding these side by side, you can really tell, at least I can, I hope it comes across on video, just how much Topps refractors have kind of changed for the worse or gotten lazy over the years. You can see that etching and that amazing shine on Pedro through the uniform number. I mean, just killer card from 2003. And then 12 years later in 2015, we have this Betts. While, a nice card, and obviously I purchased it, so I must like it to an extent, but it is nowhere near the coolness of this Pedro. So this is from the height of Topps caring about their shiny cards. I was really happy to find this recently in a PSA 9, pretty cheap. It was, again, around $30. So not too bad at all. And Pedro is just criminally underpopular in the hobby, although he does seem to be more popular now than he was maybe a couple of years ago. Next up, this is the one card of the 5 that I wasn't sure if I'd shown before. I may have shown this in a VR that I did for Dylan at Double D Vintage Baseball Cards, but it's a Mike Trout. And I picked this card up just this summer. It was before the latest injury, but I'm still buying Mike Trout cards. And I'm not going crazy and I'm not buying them as an investment, but I still love him as a player, and especially as an important player in the hobby. He's someone that I put on my Mount Rushmore of the baseball card hobby. If you're trying to span, from like 1952 tops to present day, and you had to pick 4 names to be on your Mount Rushmore, Mike Trout would be on that list for me. Pre-war, maybe a little bit different, but just a great athlete, and looks like he might be back soon. I don't want to curse it by saying that in this video too loudly, but look forward to him returning, and I hope he's able to put in a couple of healthy seasons and show us what he can still do when he's not battling injury. And again, I talked about injury concern in that video with modern guys, and that's an issue. And if you're buying these cards because they're your retirement portfolio, or you're planning on feeding your family with the windfall from them in a few years, I would not advise that at all. But if you just enjoy collecting, there's nothing that says you can't buy a guy when he's injured. And, again, I bought this pre-injury, but even before the injury, Trout cards are down a lot. So got this card for a lot less money than I would have had I picked it up, maybe 3 years ago. And that's one thing that's a little bit tough about modern. And I think hesitancy that some people have, which is, well-founded, is that it definitely shifts markedly more than vintage. I know vintage has had an explosion in recent years. Everything has, but generally speaking, it's a more predictable, slow uphill climb as far as value, whereas modern collectors are very finicky, and buying or selling a card at the right time can make a big difference. And that's definitely the case with that Trout. Next up, I have one soccer card, and then we're going to finish it with an awesome baseball card. So the soccer card is this one. Picked up this Erling Haaland from Panini Select. This is the red parallel, very obvious, but it's also the field level. So the way Select works, there's 3 different tiers of rarity on the checklist. Cards 1 through 100 is the easiest level. And then you have 101 through 200 is the middle tier, and then 200 to 300 is the highest tier. I think you get like one of those per blaster, maybe a couple per hobby box. And this being a parallel of that highest tier, it's a decent Erling Haaland card. I did not break the bank on this. None of the cards in today's video were even over $50 or even close to it, but it's a gorgeous card. And for those who don't follow soccer or know, this guy is a generational talent. He came to the Premier League last year, and in his first year with Manchester City in the Premier League, he scored more goals than any other player in Premier League history, which is just insane. And he's off to a hot start again this year with 2 goals in the opener. So really happy to have this card. And while it doesn't have proper etching like that Pedro Martinez we saw, it does at least have player outline and ball outline etching, which is something. And just a cool card that I'll stash away and kind of watch his career develop. And I thought it would be nice to both mix in a soccer card and also to get a couple of back-to-back horizontal or landscape red cards into the video. Then we're going to close out with a set that I think makes another good point about modern that I wanted to touch on quickly, and that is collecting modern doesn't mean collecting active young players like Wander Franco, who are 21 years old, or Kylian Mbappe here, who's 24. You can collect modern and collect established Hall of Fame players, but just do it in modern sets. For example, the gold minted Reggie Jackson that we have there. I love that card. And at some point, I'll do a countdown of my favorite Reggie Jackson cards, and that card will make the list, even though it's not a playing era card. So they're a fun way to kind of augment and supplement your vintage collection as well, if there are players or teams that you enjoy. And maybe no better example of that, at least within the last year here in the hobby, that I can think of that struck me personally on the level that this next set has, and that is Topps Gilded collection, or Topps Chrome Gilded. So here's an example of one that I picked up just recently, and I apologize for the glare. It's very bright in here today and I have the light on, but this is a Honus Wagner from the Gilded release. So this is the same design as 2022 Topps Baseball. It's done in chrome. You see the Topps Chrome logo there, but it's Gilded collection. So this was a super high-end release. You can get a nice look at kind of the shine there and some of the intricate like foil work on the border. Like, these are just gorgeous cards. I think you would get maybe only like 6 cards, I want to say, in a hobby box for like $300. So this is not a product that I would ever open, but you can find these on the secondary market for reasonable price points. And I think they're gorgeous. For me, this is excellent because I'm not going to have a playing era Wagner card anytime soon. I'll never say never, maybe when I'm retired and living the life, I'll consider it, or be able to trade into one or something someday. But it's not likely that a Playing Days Wagner is going to be on the horizon for me. But, I got this gorgeous card in a PSA 10 from a set that Topps just did a fantastic job with the build on these. Like, they feel and look so high quality and just gorgeous. This video is really not, and the lighting in here, doing the card justice, but this is the base version of the card. Okay, so this is the most common version you can get of the Wagner, and it's numbered on the back. You can see out of 99 in the upper right. I have copy 31. Each card also has a parallel out of 50, which are the best looking cards in the set by far. Another one out of 25, a 10, and I think a 1 of 1. So for guys like this on the checklist, there are less than 200 total cards between base and all parallels that were made for Gilded for this Honus Wagner. And I just love this card, absolutely adore it. And remember what I said, everything in today's video was the $50 under price point, and this is in a PSA 10, and that's just insane to me. So really cool way to collect the greats of the game, and it's just another thing that I love about Modern, able to get a name like that into my collection at an affordable price, but still have it be a card that feels significant, that I'm proud to own. So that's a wrap. I'll have more on the Gilded cards at another point, planning to do a whole video about the cards that I've picked up from that set. But for today, that concludes the 5 Modern cards that we're going to look at, and some of the points on why I love collecting Modern. So whatever it is that you collect in the hobby, I'm just glad you're enjoying it, and I appreciate you spending a few minutes of your valuable time here, listening to my thoughts and seeing some of my pickups. And as you know, I'll be back in the very near future with some more sports card content. Till then, take care, everybody.